ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. The other day I was watching a World of Tanks video from Aging Jedi. Um, if you haven't heard of him or seen any of his videos, get on YouTube and add him to your subscriber list. The dude is awesome. He does a real good job breaking down tanks and his videos, and he gets pretty in depth, and he can give you the pros and cons of a vehicle. And he's like me; he's going to tell you cut and dry if the tank's worth a crap or if it's junk. But anyways, he did a replay or a review of a tank that you don't see in the game. Barely. It's a very rarity to see this tank. It's a rare tank. They call it the Mini Moss, Micro Moss. I've always heard of it called the Mini Moss. He called it the Micro Moss, but doesn't matter. Same meaning. So, anyways, it is a premium tank. It's a PZ KPFW 38H 735F. Say that 3 times really fast. Anyways, they call it Mini Moss, obviously, because the Moss, you think heavy armor, slow, and this is definitely slow for its tier 2. You won't see anything over tier 3, and it's got 40 millimeters of pretty well sloped armor all the way around. I know you're saying I was well sloped, but if you see this piece right here, like, what about that? Well, believe me, that's a lot harder to pen than you think. A lot of tanks you run into that are tier 2 and 3 have autocannons on them, machine guns, and they just don't have the penetration to go through this. Front, back, side. I mean, I've had people in this little guy right here, this PZ KPFW1, the 35T, tank set right in my rear and just put round after round in the ass of this and not be able to pen. Round in the back of the turret too, just not be able to pen it. This thing is really well armored, and that's why it's nicknamed the Mini Moss. So anyways, I watched this video, and this guy ended up, that video that he showed, the guy ended up getting, I think it was 14 kills, 13 or 14 kills. But he ended up losing because this is a very slow tank. Like I said, Mini Moss, you think slow, and it is slow. The power to weight ratio on this is 6.96. So it is slow, and it's got a 75 horsepower engine. Your car's got a bigger engine. Top speed is 37. I think they need to change that to like about 24 because it's really, agonizingly slow. I can't remember how I got it. I can't remember if it was from beta testing World of Tanks or if it was like a founders pack where you spent $35-50 whatever, and you got some super tanks that they'll never sell again that they turn around and sell anyways. Kind of like the Mutant. Oh, we'll never sell this tank, and then what was it, 6 months ago they turned around and sold it. That was not for sale, and you couldn't buy it for since the game came out in 2010. But they told us we'll never sell this. This is a founder. You have this tank. This means you invested money in the World of Tanks, and they turn around and sell it. Talk about a kick on the nuts. But this was another one of the tanks they did that with. It might have been for beta testing World of Tanks. I can't remember 100%. But anyway, so you won't see very many of these, and to kill it is another thing because artillery, even artillery hitting it doesn't do a lot of damage to it, but already is its main enemy because, that's basically anybody that has already an enemy team. That's their main enemy is artillery because they always seem to hit you when you least expect it in the weirdest places that you wouldn't think they could hit you. So anyways, why am I making this video? Because I got thinking if this is mainly kind of, well, if you want to become a Steel Clubber, but basically a lot of the newer people in World of Tanks that come up against this, it's a pain in the butt to kill, but not that reason. The reason I'm making this video is because I got thinking, I'm like, I've been in matches that I remember seeing a tank that looks almost identical to this, and I remembered it seemed like it was hard to pen, and I looked it up, and the armor values and everything was almost identical to this, and it's a standard tank. Anybody can get it. It's in the tech tree. And I got looking, it's actually a French tank, because I was looking through the German line thinking it's got to be a German tank, got to be a German tank. Well, no, it ends up, it's this French tank right here, the Renault R35. If you look at the armor values on this, the premium one that I'm telling you about, it's 40 all the way around. The gun sucks, got crappy pen. It's a tier 1 gun and a tier 2 tank. You get 41 penetration for your standard round, 64 for your premium, and you do average of 40 damage. Reload on this is 2.24 seconds. The crew I threw in this H30 or R35 Renault was just something to set it up so I could take it out and give you an idea. Speed-wise, I'm going to play a video of that one. Then I'll play the video of this one. And it's just all I'm going to do is take it into a proving ground match just real quick because my ping isn't the best. I want to be able to just I wish I could have my son take one out and me take one out in the same match and then side by side so you could compare them that way. But unfortunately, I can't because he's at home and I'm out on the road. So I figured I'll take this one out, the premium one first, give you an idea how fast it moves, how it shoots, and just basically set in front of tanks and let them shoot me. And then I'm going to do the same thing in the Renault R35. So basically, you can get this Renault R35. It's in the regular tech tree under the French heavies. It is a tier 2, just like this one, but you don't see anything over a tier 3, so you get the same tier 2 and tier 3. That's it. The gun is almost identical. The armor is almost literally identical. The only difference is now on the premium one, this 38H, it is 40 millimeters all the way around. And like I said, your standard penetration is 41, premium is 64 with an average damage of 40. My aim time and everything, don't even look at that because I've got a decent crew in this one versus the Renault. I just threw a crew in that one. So now if you look at the Renault, almost identical, very little different. It's got the French look obviously on the turret. The only real weak spot, and it's almost identical as that Commander Satch if you look. That one's got kind of a bubble, and that's not even really a weak spot on this tank. The rear looks different on the French tank compared to this one. This one's got like a wheelie bar where you can carry all your crap or whatever, whereas this one doesn't, but it doesn't move any faster. Same speed, and if you look at the gun on this, it is a tier 2, but it's got the same penetration, 34, 67. On this one it was 41, 64. So your standard round on the Renault is a little less, but your premium round is a little more. And it is a PCR. It basically is almost I don't want to say cut and paste tank. The Renault R35 it has 40 all the way around on the armor except for 32 in the rear on the hull. So if somebody gets behind you on this one, they're probably going to... It'll still be a tough for them if they're with a tank that's got an auto cannon or a machine gun. They'll still have a tough time going through here. But like, somebody like a T-26 that's got 58 pen, 92 for premium. If their standard doesn't go through it, their premium definitely will go through, yeah. So certain tanks can still go through this little, this mini Moss. And it's not impenetrable. It really depends on the team loadout, what teams, enemy tanks are on that team. If they get a lot of tank destroyers, the higher pen stuff, some of their standard rounds will go through this. So it's not unkillable. The match Aging Jedi showed, it just happened that the enemy team, I think they had an artillery, but all the other tanks that were on the enemy team were pretty much autocannons. They just can't pen this. They don't have enough penetration. And so I got thinking, hey, there's this tank right here that you can get in the regular tech tree. I'm going to go ahead and show you guys this. So, you can basically be a seal clubber in this thing. So if you're new to World of Tanks and you want to get your stats brought up a little bit, go buy one of these little guys. It's pretty well dirt cheap. I wonder, can we look? Comparison. Oh, actually, we can compare them. I forgot about this. So let's go there and compare. And the PZ-38, you can see it's hard to compare because the crew in the PZ-38 is way better, and this is a 60% crew in the R35. So like your damage per minute and stuff is going to be way better on the PZ-38 because it's not 100% crew. I think you can change that though. Yeah, you can. So let's just go with a 100% crew. Maybe that'll help the numbers. But anyways, so you can see the premium rate of fire is still better, but also because the crew I've got in this is actually very good. Gun depression on the R35 is -16, so you get double the gun depression. You only get 8 on the PZ-38. So right there, the R35's got a way better set up for the gun depression. Now, the aim time and all this other stuff, like I said, the crew I've got in this premium is way better. You can see, like I said, your armor is almost identical except for the rear of the R35 is only 32 where it's 40 on the PZ38. Your numbers, it's funny, it says this one, PZ38 is more mobile, but you'll see it's funny. This one's actually got a better horsepower engine and better specific power, so I don't see how this can have better mobility numbers. Must be in the oh, because the top speed on this is 23 and it's only 30 and it's 37 on this. That's got to be why. Traverse speed is better on this, but also boils down to the crew I have in this one too. So if you're wondering, if you've seen that video from Aging, man, that really sucks. I wish I could get my hands on that that 38 735F, 38, yeah, 735F. You can. It is called the Renault R35. Basically an identical tank. Looks a little bit different. Actually, the slope on this looks a little bit better than it does on this. This kind of seems like it goes whoop, straight up and down. And on this one, it looks like it's probably still kind of pretty much straight up and down. But even though you look at that and you're like, oh, that'd be easy to pen. It's flat. No, believe me, it just because it's flat doesn't mean you can pen it, because this just has the thickness where the auto cannons can't go through it. So anyways, I did have a match in the Renault R35. Don't worry about this. I just shot some stuff from the rear. What I was trying to do is get these clowns to shoot at me, but they're just bots. But it had 16 hits, only got one to pen, and that was my own fault because I gave him my side when I turned the tank. It was kind of a complete accident. You keep the front of this facing something with an autocannon, they're not going to be able to pen you. Also, 15 rounds bounced. It was just basically I'm just checking out my ping, and I thought, well, I'll run these two real quick in that proving ground just so you can see how speed-wise they're the same, armor-wise they're almost identical, gun-wise they're almost identical. So don't fret if you watched Aging Jedi's video. You can't get the 735F. It's not in the tech tree. You can't buy it. It hasn't been in the premium store since day one. But the R35, yes, everybody can get it. It's in the regular tech tree, and it's almost identical. So if you want to hold on for a minute, I'll have two videos for you, and one's going to be the R35 and then one in the 735F. And all I'm going to do is just run it in the Proving Grounds match. I'm just checking my ping out. So basically, I'm just going to drive the thing in front of a tank and let it shoot at me as much as I can. The problem with these two is they are so slow. That was mainly when you lose a match in this thing. If you're top tier, let's say, and the enemy are full of autoloaders that can't pen you, the thing that ends up killing you and getting you into a match that you lose is your speed. 90% of the time you'll be just getting over by the enemy cap. They'll jump on your cap, and there's no way you can get back to the enemy cap in time because this is so slow. But if you want to hold on for a minute, I'll be right back. So just don't hold your breath. I'll be right back. Alrighty, so here we are on Mittengard. Like I said, this is one of the maps. They do mines and Mittengard basically when you do the Proving Ground matches. And I do them just to test my ping. But just to give you an idea of the speed differences between this and the R35, just kind of gauge from when I take off here and get down to this corner. I go to the same place in both tanks. I do kind of try and do the same exact thing in both of them. Unfortunately, on the R35 match, not as many tanks get into the enemy cap, so I don't get shot as much. But not a single round pens it, and I was facing my butt like I'll do in this one of the tank towards the enemy, so they had just a shot in the keister. But to gauge the speed difference between the two, if you watch when I take off in this one, how fast I get to this corner compared to, I think it's like one of these medium twos are heading to the same spot. And with this one, I'm kind of already down there by the time he gets there. And on the R35, that I believe it's a medium 2 is already there by the time I get there. So, this one is faster. The crew I have in it might help out speed-wise a little bit because there's less ground resistance and whatnot. But the R35 is definitely a lot slower tank. You can see, the crew I have in this, I just spotted, I think pretty much about 80% of the enemy team coming down the hill. And this one it's slow. This is slow, but, obviously it came down that big hill, but you can, it cooks along a lot faster compared to the R35. So basically, I just want to pull up here. I actually pulled up further in this one than I did the R35, but I just sit here and let them shoot me. I think I take a couple pop shots. I'm letting them shoot in the side of the turret, rear of the tank, side of the tank, wherever. I'm just trying to show you the difference between this one and the R35. There really isn't much of a difference. The gun's about almost identical. The R35's premium round's a little bit better, but this one, the standard round's a little bit better. This one has 40 millimeters all the way around on the armor, whereas the R35's got 40 all the way around, except for I think it was 32 on the rear of the hull. So basically, I'm just sitting here and just letting them shoot me round after round, and you'll see them just bounce, 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 because most of your lower tier tanks just can't pen this. Tier 3s, even the tier 3s you'll come up in this have a lot of trouble penning it. If you come up against one of these, not to ruin my, that's the only round that penned this thing right there, and it's just the angle I was at. Got a shot in the side. But, and he also, RNG probably, a gun that only gets 25 pen, RNG probably bumped it up to 50, 60% pen, so I was able to get overmatch it. So, that RNG, everybody loves it. So, yeah, just between the R35 and this, there is such little difference. You can't get this one, obviously, though. They don't sell this. It's not in the premium shop. It hasn't been. They sold it one time, and that was back in 2010. And like I said, I can't remember if they sold it or if it was gifted to me for beta testing or if it was a founder's pack or whatever. It's just... Oh, I'm like, what just shut down? One of the team bots here shot me, but it ended up being that guy over there. But, I mean, you can see this thing. I mean, it only has 160 hit points, and we've already bounced 234. And at the end of this, from letting these guys shoot me, actually I turn around a minute and give them the butt to shoot, ends up bouncing around 700 and some damage. One round penned me, and like I said, it was due to the angle I was setting at. But you'll see like this medium too, and these other tanks come around, shoot it right in the side, and they don't even go through it. Right here, I turn around, I'm like, okay, go ahead and shoot me in the butt. And doesn't matter. Most of them are aiming for the turret, but you can see, that's spaced armor too right here on the turret. But even in the side, they're putting rounds in the side of the turret, and they're not even able to pen this thing. Now, basically, the only reason I'm shooting these guys is because I don't want them to cap. I want them to keep shooting me. So basically, I'm just taking a pop into each one of these every once in a while just to reset the cap. I think one of them over there I shoot just because, just to finish it off. And you can see the gun on this isn't super phenomenal. I'll bounce a couple rounds like I just did off that one T2 medium tank there. Or the medium 2. Those things they're horrendously huge with no armor, and I bounced around on that. But we just won the match, so I'm just going through and picking these guys off. But, I'm just trying to prove that there is a tank out there you can get that is identical to this tank, really. And it's the the French R35. Might be called the Renault R35. But it's the R35. It's a French tank, Tier 2, and it is basically the twin of that tank. So, don't feel down or feel like you were left out and you can't get one that's like the 735F, because believe me, you can. So if you want to hold on for a minute, I will play the R35 replay now, and it's basically the same thing. Just want to show you, you can see the big difference in speed you'll notice right off the bat between the two tanks. Armor-wise, this one got shot a lot more. We ended up bouncing 757 damage in this. The other one, I think I ended up bouncing 330 some. It was almost half of this because I got shot half as much. But so if you want to hold on for a minute, I'll be right back. And you can see if you look up here at my ping, it's a lovely red. That means lag, sucks, crap. So that's why I figured I'd do a video about this, because I can't play World of Tanks because the lag sucks so bad that just playing one of these little matches to test my ping, I even barely could play. So if you want to hold on for a minute, I'll be right back. Alrighty, so here we are in the Renault R35 on Mittengard once again, but now in the Renault R35. the previous part of the video. I couldn't remember the name of the tank. I knew it was R35, but it was the Renault. The French tank. Got the big duck look on it, and an eyeball right there, you know. But anyway, so I try and basically do exactly what I did before, but when I do go forward, I don't go quite as far. I noticed in this one that I did the 735F. But speed-wise, if you see, when I take off on this, it is definitely a lot slower than the 735F. Top speed on this, I think it was 27. We're up to 32 going down the hill, but you can see it drops right down to 20. So we're talking T95 speed here. Moss is about the same speed, and Moss could probably outrun this. But you can see I'm just now getting here in the 735. That guy parked there. I was already up here where I'm at now. So speed-wise, the 735F, the premium, is a lot faster than this one. But armor-wise, you can see it's just a bounce-a-thon when you're in this thing. And again, I'm just basically turning the turret, let people the bots just kind of shoot round after round in it. We end up getting hit like I believe it was 33 or 35 times, and every round bounces. And I do the same thing. I do get on the enemy cap, and I turn around to some shoot in the butt, and they can't pen it. This thing is, like I said, we're getting shot in the side. They're not even penning it. 40 millimeters in armor all the way around, except for in the back. I think it was 32. 32, and on the Renault 735 it's 40 all the way around. This one is the only difference is 32 in the rear hull armor. But you can see I'm just backing up and letting him shoot me. And the only reason I'm shooting the bots is basically so you can see while I'm doing auto aim and just showing that standard round with this, even though the pen sucks, you can still pen. This PC2 and the T26 were hitting each other like this, so I thought, well, I'll just bump the one, and so the other one will let go to get through, and he ends up getting killed anyways. So, but you'll see here in a minute, the enemies start getting on the cap, but there's a lot less of the enemies on the cap this match, and so I don't get shot half as many times. But the point I'm just trying to make is, if you saw that video from Aging Jedi and you were kind of bummed you couldn't get the 735F, the premium that they only sold or gifted or however I can't remember how I got the darn thing. You can get the R35 and it's almost identical. If you're top tier, the enemy is going to have one heck of a time penning you. They will have a very hard time penning you. And like I said, this video is more geared towards the person that's just beginning World of Tanks. It's not a tier 10, it's obviously a tier 2. This guy here just rammed the crap out of me. I was like, nice. But, yeah, so, I turn around, I just start letting these tanks shoot me in the keister. And, you can see all the green marks that just got peppered on the front where all the rounds bounced. And basically, again, I just didn't want them to cap, so every once in a while I'd take a shot into roll wheel or whatever just to reset the cap. I was hoping more enemy tanks got on our cap, but unfortunately they don't. But these two sit here and just shoot in the butt, and they're shooting in the lower area here in the rear, and they cannot pen this thing. Round after round, even though it's only got 32 instead of 40, it's still enough, and it's angled too. Not super angled, but angled enough where they just can't pen it. I mean, literally round after round, point blank in the butt of this thing, and they can't pen it. So, anyways, the match is now over. So, well, I hope this video was helpful. So if you decide you want to get yourself a little seal clubber, this would be the rascal to get, because you can't get 735F, but you can get the Renault R35 Tier 2, and this is a heavy tank also, or at least I believe it's a heavy tank. Where does it show up here? Let's hit tab. No, light tank, I'm sorry. Now the 735F, I thought that was actually a medium, so for this being a light tank, let me tell you, it's got pretty darn good armor, and it's slow as hell. I actually thought it was a medium or a heavy. Like the 735F, I think, I'm almost positive that's actually a medium tank. But yeah, so if you're looking to get yourself a seal clubber with good armor, this would be the tank for you. Gun kind of sucks. Dispersion, it doesn't aim worth a crap. But it fires so fast that every like 2.5 seconds on this one. And like I said, I got a crappy crew in this, so that doesn't help. But, if you miss the one shot, well, 2 seconds later, you'll have another shot loaded. So, anyways, if you want to hold on for a minute, we'll go over some, I won't say post-game stats because it wasn't really a match, but we'll go over the stats just to kind of show you, how many rounds hit it and how many rounds bounce. So I'll be right back. Alrighty, I tried doing the same thing on both these, where I kind of just went straight forward, let them shoot me as much as possible. I was on the same map, both of them going down the hill. You can see neither of them are speed demons. The R35 does seem to be slower, even slower than the 735F. Armor-wise, I let them shoot me, just keep putting round after round in me. And then on the cap, I turn around, face the ass of the tank towards them, just let them shoot the butt of the tank as much as they wanted. They just couldn't pen it. This one got hit 33 times and bounced 33 rounds. It only blocked 252, but the match I had in the 735F, the premium version, basically, of this, or the German version, if you want to call it that, there was just more enemies on the enemy cap, or our cap, and so I had a lot more tanks shooting at me, so obviously it's going to bounce more damage. Actually, I think I can pull that one up right quick. Yeah, so that one, I got hit double, almost exactly double, 66 times. One did pen me, but I think I just kind of angled the tank wrong at the beginning there. But 65 bounce, and we bounced 757 damage. So you can see armor-wise on this, it's pretty much identical. Like I said, the R35's got 32 versus 40 in the rear, but it really doesn't make a whole big difference. They both are basically pretty much a seal clubber's dream. Yeah, so if you watch that video from Aging Jedi, or if you're looking for kind of a seal clubber tank, this would be the beast you want to get right here, because obviously you can see the armor on this thing is just awesome. So anyways, yeah, so anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please click the like button down below and subscribe to the channel. You guys take it easy, be safe, and I will see you on the battlefield. Alrighty, so I'm adding this one in here, and I'm just trying to figure out if I'm just having luck of the draw with disconnection issues, or if this is kind of like across the board, everybody's having issues. I've talked to well, not really talked, but like, just for instance, after this disconnection issue happened, I had to log off, log back on, and sure enough, my tank is dead. And, I said, sorry guys, got disconnected. But a lot of times, like if the game gets real laggy, or if I have this disconnection issue when I get back on, I'll type, sorry guys, got disconnected. Or usually what I'll do is I'll ask, are you guys having really bad lag or disconnection issues? And I'm not kidding. I'd say about 8 out of 10 times, I'll get messages back randomly from our team. People saying, yep, got disconnected 10 times today out of 11 matches, or whatever. Oh, yep, lag is super bad. I'm just wondering if this, I guess I'm just trying to narrow it down to find out if this is an issue strictly that I'm having, or if this is like across the board wargaming, since they did this fantastic central server, which really wasn't anything doing us a favor. You take 2 servers, one on the east side of the state, one on the west side of the state, get rid of both those and put one right in the center up in Chicago that's really not in the center. I mean, it's in the center as in the center of the United States, but not dead center. I figured they would have put it, more like on the westerly side of Tennessee, or southwest, east, or southwest, like Ohio, somewhere more like center of the U.S. Not Chicago. I mean, I don't know, that's northern to me. But since they've done that, I've been having a lot of lag issues, disconnection issues, and another one I'll get, not doing it today, but where it says U.S. Central, man, my ping's 47. I mean, I should not be getting disconnected and having lag as bad as I have been recently. Um, but you'll click on that and it'll do this thing like, it shows a little spinning here, and they got this Latin American test server they're doing for Latin America. There's all 1,200 people on that server. That was the most I've ever seen, and like right now it's so bad I couldn't even connect to that server. But one day I didn't know what the hell it was, and so I connected to it, and there was like 1,100. I think there was like a little over 1,000 people on the server. Well, so they make a special server for 1,000 people. Why don't they do that for us? Put it back the way it was. Because when it was an East and West server, I never had this issue. But a lot of times too, I'll log on, especially the weekends when you got a lot of kids that are obviously home, not in school, or college students that are playing that don't have homework that night, so they got the weekend to play tanks. And I'll get this little message that'll pop up, and it'll be like an asterisk in a circle, and it'll say, this server is heavily used today, or being heavily used, or a heavy something or other. We do not recommend using this server. To please use a different server. Okay, what server am I supposed to use? Because this is the only one I can use. And literally, this has really been happening since they knocked out the East and West server and went to one central server. I've been having lots of really bad lag a lot of times, and getting disconnected off and on. The lucky thing here is I at least did like 1,670 damage before I got disconnected. So, I still got first in damage, but when I got, like right before I got disconnected, I'd been hit once by artillery, once by a Tiger. The Tiger won on the enemy team, so I still had 3/4 of my hit points. So when I went to back up, I'm not moving. I'm like, shit. And I try and wait a few seconds, because sometimes it's just lag. In like 3 to 5 seconds, all of a sudden, boom, I'll be backed up or in the water, or a few feet from where I was parked. Or sometimes if I were just setting when I got disconnected, I get lucky enough I'm still setting in the bush or wherever. So I waited, nothing. So I had to log off, disconnect the game, reconnect the game, get back on the game. And by the time I get in the game, oh, get out of the tank, we're dead. But so I was lucky enough to at least have done more damage than anybody, which that's pretty sad, because I was disconnected pretty early in the game. And I got super lucky because enough to get at least an 1,808 win 8. Yeah, it really burns me when this happens. 6 shots, 6 hit, 5 pen, made 1,600 or 16,590 credits. So nothing fancy. Shot 1 premium and the rest standard. But yeah, I'll actually play the match for you so you can see kind of what happened. So you see what I got to deal with. So if you want to hold on for a minute, I'll be right back. Alrighty, so here we are in the Tier 8 Guard Premium Tank. I like this thing a lot. Well, I do and I don't. I don't like the hull armor in the front because it's trash. Side's 40, so it's trash. Rear's trash. So basically the hull is, easy to pen. The turret's nice, 200 millimeters. It's got a great gun. Well, I won't say great. It's got a pretty good gun. 212 standard, I think. Whoops, I guess I paused it. So 212, I believe, is a stand. Yep, and 230 something. 248 for your premium. So when you're top tier, you can have usually pretty good games in it. When you're middle, bottom tier, or tier 10 matches, even your premium APCR rounds are only 248, so you can still struggle to penetrate your, thicker armored tanks. So anyways, the team all kind of agreed, let's get the hill. So we all kind of head up that way. And they do have 2 artilleries. So when they've got 2 artilleries, it's not a good idea to hang out in this area, like right in here, because they can hit you, or on the left side of that rock and try getting shots off, or kind of anywhere in here. I do make a mistake and I come down in here, but I back the heck out of there the first shot that hits me. The big thing I do have problems with this is the gun depression's only, I think it's 6, but with the rear mounted turret, if it's 6 degrees of gun depression, it's hard to get your gun down. I did shoot a premium round. I could have swore I left it on all standard, but oh well, just habit. So, anyways, what you want to come over here and see if you can get shots on these guys, but then you got all your base campers, and they've got one, two, three tank destroyers, and those guys are going to set up on this ridge, and as soon as you get lit, they've got this big opening here to plug you. You can try getting in here, but a lot of times they just plug you there too. So when the match first kicks off, it's not a super good idea to hang around in here. Artillery can hit you here too. Um, I do see the Thunderbolt there, and you'll see I had a heck of a time, I think, on him too, trying to get my gun down enough to actually shoot him. Now I get him here, 402. So I mean the gun hits really nice. You can see the rounds flying in. So the Ag-88 actually, oh, he's sitting right there. Didn't even see him. That's his bad map awareness on my part. I figured he'd have been setting up there. Kind of surprised he was setting there. But yeah, so he's got free shots on me. But the Ag-88 bounces, and I want the Thunderbolt's gone. So one less guy on the enemy team, and after that I decide, okay, I'm backing out of here. It's just not a good idea to set there. I don't normally play hill. I usually go where all these guys are grouped up here, but I saw a whole buttload of them heading that way, and I just thought, I'm just going to get down there and get aggravated. So I figured I'd come down here and try and help the guys get hill. At least, they got a tier 8 heading up there. So I plugged the Tiger in the front there and bounced. I should have aimed more to the right, and I was just trying to get a shot off real quick, afraid of, a bunch of guys up here. But I was able to pop up here, get a shot on them. Nothing shot at me, so I thought, I'm safe, but, I'm down to 567. Artillery hit me for 212, and I was waiting for the arty rounds to fly, and so I thought, I'm just getting out of here, and sure enough, boom, there's another arty round. Hit me for 139. Tiger comes out, put one in the side, kind of a low roll, 366. Average damage on this gun is, I believe, 390. Yeah, 390. So 30 short of even getting the standard damage. But I'm just trying to back out of here. And, even though the armor on this thing is actually really kind of trash. And there's artillery, and of course no one's killed him yet because our artillery, they're just back there sleeping, I guess. I thought I'd try and get that Tiger taken out, but he goes invisible, and I just didn't want to risk going up in there again and getting lit up and getting clicked. So I figure I'm going to back up out of here, and like I said, the reason I kept my front facing them that way is, even though it's got crappy armor on the hull, I wanted to keep at least what little thickness of armor I had towards the front, because the front's 100. I believe it's 100. It's over 90. I know it's like 100. I'm almost positive it's 100. But I got a feeling that's probably more like this lower plate right here. I doubt that's 100 right there. It's more likely probably that lower plate, or this little section right here in the lower plate. Yeah, it's probably more like that section there. And the lower plate's probably 10. But I thought, okay, I'm going to go over here and let's just try and shoot at some of these guys over here. But this is where your gun depression on this being 6, you really got to overextend yourself and come out. Here, I'm going to give you the view that I had, so you can see what happens when I get disconnected here. I don't know exactly what it's going to even show. I'm kind of in this bush when I get disconnected. So I'm trying to get a shot at any of these guys. I see the Bulldog is he's thinking about coming out. At first I was almost thinking about dropping down, and right here, disconnected. Boom. But now on my end, I didn't know I was disconnected there. I'm sitting in a bush and I could move my turret, and I was aiming. So for the first 1 or 2 seconds, I just thought everything was fine. Then all of a sudden, I'm like, that thing just completely stopped moving. He completely stopped moving. I look at the mini map, and nothing's moving. I'm like, shit. So I hit the backwards button, nothing. I'm like, God bless America. But then I waited like 5 more seconds, and lo and behold, disconnected. So I'll show you what happened after that. Let me pause this for a second. I'll be right back. Tanks kicks on here in a second, but so here, be backed up, or back a little further, but then you hear that, get out of the tank, destroyed. I'm like, oh, crap. And then I look, and I think when I died, we still had half a team. I get back on, and we're down to basically 3 tanks. Yeah, so it's just annoying when that happens. Um, and I'm just kind of the only reason I did this video, added it to it, is I'm just trying to figure out, wondering if it's like the NA player base altogether is having issues like this, or if it's just me, because it happens more often than not that I get disconnected like this, or I get real bad lag. I'll be playing along, and all of a sudden I'll have no control over the gun or where I'm aiming at, or I'll pull the trigger and it doesn't do anything, and all of a sudden, boom, it shoots like 3 seconds later, and then I'll look up and this little green light's nice and red, or blinking red, or a solid red, and when that happens, I just get off. Not even worth trying to play, because it'll just destroy your win rate just completely. Um, so I'm just trying to find out if it's me. Like I said, though, my game ran fine. Never had it. I mean, every once in a while I would get a disconnected or lag issue, like once every couple weeks when we had a north or a east and west server. But now that it's on a central server like this, it's not uncommon that it's a daily thing. Every time I get on tanks, I get disconnected several times a day, or the lag is just so bad I can't even play. And if it's me, I think what I'll do is just do a complete refresh install, just delete the whole thing and start over, and try it without any mods. The only mods I use are the paintball mod, so I can see where the rounds hit, and the aiming mod, to give me that different reticle. And XVM. So I don't know if one of those are what's screwing it up, if it's on my end. If you guys have that installed, XVM or any of these mods like I do, let me know if you have the same issue, or if your game runs fine. If I'm just trying to narrow it down to where I can find out if it's me or if it's NA in general. So if it's me, I can fix it, or hopefully fix the issue. Sometimes I realize at some of these truck stops that I'm at, they just have pitiful Wi-Fi. And I'll use my phone. Sometimes I've got programs on my phone so I can test the connection and see how well that, my ping, my upload, download, and all that is. And if it's good, I'll play. But if I look at my phone and I've got, LTE, but it's only half a, like a 50% connection, I'm not like all my bars are there. I won't even try, because I know it's just not good enough to play. I've got to have all the bars on LTE to get a good enough connection to play, which is usually 90% of the time. But just trying to figure this out. So if you guys could help me out in any way by letting me know if you got these mods, or if you're having these issues, that way I can narrow it down to either be in the game or be in my game on my computer, so I can delete it and restart fresh. Because I've done the original install on this, was done several years ago on my laptop, and I've always done the updates. I've never had to do a fresh install of the game. So, maybe it's time I end up doing one of those. So, yeah, if you guys could just send me messages and let me know, that would be great. So I've got an idea of, where to start looking. But, I've run all those programs, Ping Plotter and all this stuff, to see what goes on there, and everything is fine. I'm not, dropping or losing packets and stuff like that. But it might just be when I'm running that program, I've got a good connection at that time. So who knows? But yeah, anyways, you guys take it easy, be safe, and I will see you on the battlefield.